Welcome, I'm Chris Ryan.
And I'm Maya Sanchez. This is All Access Sports, your source for local sports. And this week, we have football, we have soccer, some big wins, some not so great wins.
We've got it all, and the game's just becoming more meaningful as we go into October. Some really big high school soccer games.
As MHSA finals approach.
And Haslett, they just had a huge week in general. It started off with football, homecoming weekend, huge game against Waverly, and this one would go back and forth. Starting out, you've got Ben Britton at running back for the Vikings, and you remember a great ground game from them last year with Michael Stinson. This year, it's Britton. He takes it to the house. It's 7-7 at this point going into halftime, and then it's homecoming week. You've got the king and the queen from last year handing out their crowns. There's the king of this year and the queen soon to be anointed to her throne in just a second there. But on to the second half, and Waverly, they came out firing. Lucas Leak, the quarterback, just throws a bomb to perfection, and then this guy would be the player of the game. This guy, Jaden Sutton, one of the best running backs in the state, especially in the CAAC. And then Haslett, though, they'd strike right back. Hiram Tibbetts to Evan Block for a deep pass. And this game would go back and forth, back and forth. There is Sutton once more. Every single time Haslett would score, Waverly would score, and vice versa until we got to the end. Sutton not only doing it on the ground, but on the passing game as well. Magnuson with a huge game, and he would come up big here because it's 35-34. Coach Outluski has the decision to make, and he chooses to go for two. Tibbetts to Magnuson. Magnuson breaks a tackle, and he gets the two-point conversion. Haslett with the 36-35 lead with 1:05 left to play. Waverly, though, they would get a chance to strike back, try to win this one, and it's a beautiful pass from Leak. They get down the sidelines. Eventually, you got Sutton once more being a hero in this one, but then it would come down to the field goal. And would he make it? He would not. Smashes the crossbar, and hysteria takes over in Haslett as they improve to 3-4.
Things that we felt like we could be able to do all year long, and injuries and being young in the wrong spots and not being very good sometimes up front. I think we're starting to come of age offensively and give our defense a break.
Haslett just coming together now. Stay at home against Williamston next Friday at 7 p.m.
Yeah, not only did this past Friday Haslett had a huge game for homecoming, but Okemos hosted Okemos, and they had a very back and forth game as well. It's a critical win this time. This matchup came down to a defensive battle towards the end, and we didn't know which team would actually hold off till the very end. And throughout the night, both teams went back and forth on possessions. It's the beginning of their third quarter here, and Holt leads by a touchdown when Okemos' Jason Pridgeon finds Patrick Nugent to tie the game 14-14. Holt quickly responds, trying to secure a lead, but tying the game yet again.
We'll just keep doing the same things that we've always done. We'll keep working on running the ball, stopping their run. Jackson's a great team, and they have a great offense, so we're going to have to watch lots of film and get pretty smart over this next week.
Okemos ties the game with a score at 21 for both sides, and after struggling to convert on downs, Holt settles for the field goal. 3 and out was all it took for them to hand Okemos their 6th loss of the season. This week, Holt will face Jackson. Both teams are 3-2 in league standings.
So as you can see, just a huge week for high school football in the area this week. 2 incredible games. Haslett, fortunately,
wins, like you said, are crucial.
Oh yeah, and as you get into just a couple more games left, we're getting in there almost to November, just right around the corner, a couple weeks away. So very interesting stuff there. Haslett on the up. Maybe they can make that playoff push. But now on to Haslett soccer. And the good times just kept going. Haslett soccer opened up the CAAC Gold Cup with a matchup against Lansing Catholic. Down 1-0, headed into the second half, the Vikings kept their cool. They came out of the gate firing on all cylinders, and there it is. Shin Nishimura makes it 1-1. Nishimura would have an incredible CAAC Cup run, and then again Haslett trying to take the lead here, and they do with Shirali Muir, the incredible shot there, and Haslett takes it 2-1.
We told them the best way to defend is to attack. That's our approach. We don't, honestly, I don't think we have sat back against any team this season. Because eventually teams are good at finding little pockets, and if you just sit back. So we just came out and just play out like ourselves, and that was the biggest difference, honestly.
They came out fiery in the second half, and this game also played as senior night for the Vikings. So the team as a whole, great performance. The seniors also honored, and there you go. That's a little interesting picture. They had their heads blown up for the CAAC Cup action. Very funny, I suppose. Very interesting
definitely.
to look at. Sure. Yeah.
It's a great thing for the fans too to have that play around with it, cheer them on. It's a lot of energy there.
Oh yeah. You just love seeing that.
And another game that kicked off the CAAC Gold was Okemos facing Mason, and you have an early goal by Chiefs Owen Cannon in the 9th minute, giving the Chiefs that early edge for the rest of the game. In a close matchup, Mason amps up the pressure and finds some open spaces, but they can't hit the target just yet. And you can see here a long pass from center hits Talon Christensen, who finds a spot to cross it in from the left. Ben Meshke heads it high, and the ball comes just over Mason's goalkeeper. What a goal right there. Owen Cannon celebrates with a jumping hug, taking Meshke to the ground on that one. And after all, the Chiefs are moving on to the next round of the Cup with a 2-0 win.
You know, when I saw the draw play Mason, and you play one of your biggest rivals in the first round, it's probably not the easiest draw in the world. So it's important for us right now to play well over the next week, and hopefully we can get through the next game and and then put ourselves in a position where next week we're playing for something. But it's one game at a time. I'm glad Thursday we're playing in a game to try to get to the finals.
With 9 left to play, Mason's Liram Shefku complains he was held in this play, swearing at the referee. He receives a red card and is out of the game. The Chiefs, happy with the win, head on to play against the winner of Haslett and Lansing Catholic in the semifinals, which ended up being Haslett.
We all know what happened there. Yeah. Haslett Okemos crash course in the CAAC semifinal.
Big rivalry right there.
Both took care of business. So, big game Thursday night last week. And the Chiefs, goal scorer extraordinaire. We know Ben Meshke led it off with an early 2 goals. Could Haslett mount some sort of comeback? Urillo, and then once again, Shin Nishimura, he just pops that one right in point blank range to make it 2-2 with 33 minutes left to play. And then Haslett, they take the lead in the 77th minute of play. Joey Sparkia put a little more hysteria into Viking country. Haslett pulls off a 3-goal run to beat the Chiefs 3-2.
Honestly, coaches we don't do much, but with these guys being leaders on the field, we leave everything to them on the field to take charge of the team. If we play against any team in the state, I'd rather have these guys on the field than any other guys in the country, honestly.
Haslett goes, those are pretty strong words. Haslett goes on to play East Lansing tonight, 7:30 p.m. for the CAAC Gold Cup title.
Big game right there.
Looking excellent as they've gone into this. I mean, they've gotten better and better, it seems.
Comparing them, I went to preseason camp, and they've improved so much from that. You could see the things they had to tweak, and they were big things, and now they're just down to the little things, focusing on the little plays that they have to win.
And you've got to credit Darius Ward there. He likes to give all the credit to his players, but Darius,
former Michigan State soccer player,
one heck of a coach. Just love what he's doing with that team.
And he's very passionate about it. So, yeah.
Well, you see him hugging the players after the game. He really has that connection with his team. Love to see that. Coming up next, the woes continue for Michigan State.
Yeah, the Spartans' 31-14 loss to Brigham Young marks their 3rd straight loss, and that hasn't happened since 2009. So we'll have to see what Coach Antonio is going to do, and we'll break down the game and preview Northwestern.
We'll try to diagnose it for you.
When we come back to All Access Sports.
Don't worry, 74 people were picked before me in the NFL draft.
To fight childhood obesity, United Way and the NFL are helping kids play at least 60 minutes a day.
Okay, time for the team obstacle course. Yay!
What this place needs is more healthy kids. To get involved or donate, go to unitedway.org/play60.
Now I get it.
You may know about what's happened worldwide, but you might not know what's happening in your community. Connect with HOMTV on multiple social media platforms. Go to HOMTV.net to view our 24-hour live stream. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter to receive the first-hand news updates. Home TV, Flickr, and Instagram provides high-quality photos while also showing what we do behind the scenes. Just connect with us. Haslett, Okemos, Meridian Township, Home TV.
Morning, Gary. We are GetSchooled.com. You want a college education, don't you? You know you do. That's why we're here. We're free and here to guide you through every step of the way, starting with attendance. Gary, financial aid forms. Picking a college, man. You and us. We go together like tacos and Tuesday.
And I love tacos. Go to GetSchooled.com.
Welcome back, Meridian. Now, we wondered if the woes would continue. Michigan State hosted BYU, hoping to avoid its first first three-game losing streak since 2009. Back home, they lost their last home game against Wisconsin 30-6 with the losses of linebackers Riley Bulla, John Reschke, and defensive tackle Raekwon Williams, not to mention Malik McDowell in the first half there. The Spartan D would be tested on the ground, and it was BYU running back Jamal Williams who exploded for a school record 286 rushing yards last week against Toledo. He would keep trucking against State. The option offense plays Achilles' heel to the banged-up green and white as dual-threat quarterback Taysom Hill carries the ball for 47 rushing yards on 8 carries and that touchdown right here. He fakes him out so well. The combo of Williams and Hill would not be stopped in the second half. State saw its 7-3 halftime lead quickly be decimated as BYU posted 21 unanswered points by the 8-minute mark in the fourth quarter. Williams, the bell cow, finishes with 163 rushing yards on 30 carries with 2 touchdowns to boot, and the Cougars offense as a whole just pounds the ground game down the Spartans' throats with 260 total rushing yards on the day. The Michigan State offense, meanwhile, simply anemic with 206 yards total, sparking a quarterback controversy and more uncertainty than ever heading into next week's matchup against Northwestern. Quarterback Tyler O'Connor. His numbers didn't look too bad in the first half going into the third quarter. He went 7 of 11, but not a lot of production, only 58 passing yards. Got sacked a few times as well. A lack of playmaking ability led to a change Coach D'Antonio felt he was compelled to make.
And the bottom line is production. At some point in time, you have to be productive. And if you're not productive and you've got 7 points on the board, then you've got to make a change for the sake of change. I don't think he was playing that badly. I really don't. But we can't take the sacks. We got to get a guy that can get out of there, or whatever the case, or whatever. But at that point in time, it's 10-7. I think it went to 17-7, I believe, before we made the change. And I just felt like we had to go. I don't want a quarterback controversy. Tyler's done a great job leading. He's been okay and been poor, but I felt like, hey, we needed to do something for the sake of change at that point in time. I don't think Damian Terry went in there and lost the football game. So, if anything, what happened in the second half, especially the fourth quarter, was I think a defensive meltdown as much as anything too.
D'Antonio talks about the meltdown on the defense at the end there. But going into this week, the real story, you can't really change much on defense. The real story is at quarterback. What will he do? Will it be Terry? Will it be O'Connor? Terry throws an interception early against Northwestern, and you don't really know with him if he can pass so well. That's the real question with Terry. And when he does run the ball, does he ever really break huge plays? What D'Antonio mentioned in the press conference was O'Connor's inability to get away from sacks, to get away from pressure. Well, Northwestern, with 12 sacks on the year, whoever's back there is going to face a little bit of pressure, and I believe he's going to think Terry is better suited for that. Terry just needs to cut down on those turnovers, though. He did amassed one drive that turned into a touchdown with a few little plays like that, finally driving one in on the quarterback sneak. But this week against Northwestern, could have overlooked Indiana, could have overlooked BYU. Northwestern, a team similar in that mold, not necessarily the best record, but they're playing decent opponents. They're playing pretty well against those opponents. their last game a win in Iowa. Iowa, not the team they were last year, neither is State, but this team
But they
pretty
also
good.
barely lost to Western Michigan, who is now ranked for the first time in school history, with good reason.
Yeah.
They have had some huge wins, and Northwestern was able to keep that line with most of their opponents like right up here. It was tight games all throughout, and
Wait, if you want to do a little direct correlation here, Michigan State, they beat Notre Dame, but it was a tough one. They won that one by 8 points.
let up huge points
and of course
towards the end.
And of course, Duke beat Notre Dame. Well, Northwestern beat Duke. So if you want to, play that game, Northwestern definitely should be in this one again, even though it's in Spartan Stadium. We picked BYU last week. I have a feeling the woes could continue to continue. We don't know.
But it's also homecoming, and I feel like the Spartans have an edge in that because they know the crowd is going to be bigger than ever. And so I think that, it's always nice to be home with a big crowd, but then
you don't know with the crowd because you see, if you go on Facebook or whatever, just look at selling tickets. People are trying to get rid of these tickets because they see the product on the field. They don't want to pay for that. They'd rather get paid for it. And in a lot of cases, they're not really getting a lot of buyers in exchange because, for this game against Northwestern, it just really wasn't expected to be a big game. And still, unless you're playing just for a mediocre bowl game, it doesn't really mean that much.
Exactly, and that's where the fans are confused because just like we were at the college football playoffs last year, they might not be even playing for a bowl game.
Right, and you want to say, just throw the season out the window, but there's still so many games left to be played, and you don't know exactly how fans are going to react week by week.
Just like we were talking about, MSU got 85 rushing yards compared to BYU's 260.
And BYU's defense, not that great.
No,
and they
it's
still
not.
weren't able to capitalize. Total of 206 yards. That's terrible. And against a team that gave up 53 points the week prior to Toledo. There's also a home game this past week for State. I don't have any answers for this team. I don't think Terry's the answer, and I don't think O'Connor's the answer. So
there's a way to overlook a little bit of Terry's mistakes in the very end of this game because Terry, we haven't seen him. Except for that little bit at Ohio State last year, we haven't seen him play consistently. So MSU doesn't, if he has those mistakes, like the interception he threw, that might have been a rookie mistake that could have happened to any quarterback who's just starting out.
Terry's been designated to running the ball and running the ball only. Whenever you've seen him in the past, you're not seeing him throw the ball. He comes out for run designated plays to maybe try to fool the defense with an option. Has never really worked out that well. We'll see. Maybe he was a high-end recruit coming out of high school. Maybe he's got a little bit more in the arm than you'd expect.
But
He's
then
better.
it comes the question that, to me, I question whether MSU should be playing a guy Terry, who is eventually soon going to leave Michigan State and graduate, or if they should be starting to find a freshman or redshirt freshman like Lewerke who played and start training him in that position.
It's a question for D'Antonio. He's been burning red shirts. He's been doing a lot of things focused on this year. You lose O'Connor next year. You don't know what you're going to have at the quarterback spot. You'd like to figure it out for next year. You'd like to not have this same sort of season next year. But against Northwestern, who knows? They've got a great wide receiver. They've got a pretty solid, balanced team overall. We'll see what they do. But Austin Carr at wideout for Northwestern, leading the team with 460.
He is their main wide receiver also. So we can compare that Northwestern focuses a lot on him with the 465 receiving yards. They have 4 to 5 guys who have 80 or more. But Michigan State does have a little bit wider range. So Michigan State's defense know they have to focus on one guy.
Problem though on defense, Bulla likely to be out again, Reschke out again.
Both status is uncertain.
Where's the healing? And you look at Northwestern, they're not. I'm just gonna have to go with Northwestern in this.
They have had 12 sacks, Northwestern, while MSU hasn't been able to get to any quarterbacks.
And they can't turn the ball over because they're not getting any pressure. Once again, 0 turnovers against BYU. I think the problems will continue against Northwestern. And here's a big stat. They have not lost 4 in a row since 2006. Win was 2006. That was the year before D'Antonio got there, so this would be a new low for a D'Antonio team. But I'm afraid that will happen. Prediction time. What do you think?
I think I'm going to go with MSU on this one. I think it's going to be a really close game.
Okay.
But we've seen D'Antonio's attitude towards losing. We've seen how upset he gets.
Yeah.
We never see that smile, right?
Yeah.
So I think he's tired of it, and trying Terry, I think it's going to be refreshing for every single player on that team. I'm going to pick a close game. Let's see. I want to say 21-17 for Michigan State.
I mean, I think there's a reason Terry was the backup to O'Connor. I don't think he can really pass the ball with any effectiveness, so I'm going to go with Northwestern here. I'll say 28-21 Northwestern in this one, but afraid that the woes will continue. And don't like that. Not in East Lansing.
No.
But after the break, Be the Referee is back once again, and we love that. Can't wait to take a look at that and this week's upcoming games. 2 great things. Also,
big games too.
Player of the week as well. Who could that be? We don't know. When we come back.
Find out.
Find out when we come back to All Access Sports.
You think getting dumped by text is harsh? Try getting dumped by a tennis ball. My ex-owner drove me out to the woods, yelled fetch, and by the time I brought the ball back, he was gone. Yeah, I was pissed. But the folks at the shelter helped me let go of my anger. I learned coping skills, like taking it to the hole. Boom! Now I'm ready to fetch again. But how about I throw and you run and get it?
There's just one place where students are students first, and athletics are played with purpose and perspective. That place is your local high school. High school sports offer more than the joy of competition. Studies show that student athletes are also likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in other areas of their lives, including academics. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education.
Welcome back. Like we said, you'll find out who the player of the week is in just a few minutes. But first, Be the Referee. We're at a crucial time for Mid-Michigan high school soccer teams right now. Like you said, with Haslett and East Lansing battling for the CAAC Gold Cup title tonight at 7:30. And last Thursday, East Lansing and Grand Ledge faced off in penalty kicks after a scoreless regular time. That's a tough, tiring game there. And the Trojans did what no other team had done this season. They beat the Comets in penalty kicks, but still beat the Comets. This week's Be the Referee touches on a recent rule change for penalty kicks. Here's what John and Mark had to say.
Welcome to Be the Referee with MHSAA Assistant Director Mark Ewell.
In the game of soccer, goals are tough to come by. That's why in some of the most important games, we see those contests head into overtime and ultimately get decided by penalty kicks or PKs. The rules dealing with penalty kicks have changed for this year. In years past, whenever a player would hear the referee's whistle and they start to move toward the ball to make their penalty kick, any hesitation, delay, or stutter step would make that kick illegal. In past years, that player always got the opportunity to make a re-kick.
But this year, there is no opportunity for that player to take an additional re-kick.
Thanks, Mark. You can be a referee. Go online now to MHSAA.com to register. Thanks for listening. I'm John Johnson.
Gotta love that. Every week, new information. Just love that.
And soccer this time was great.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
a little bit more soccer here. Oh, spoiler. Now time for my favorite segment of the week. It's well documented, my love for this moment. Meridian, you've waited long enough. This week's All Access Sports Player of the Week is, Maya, drum roll. This week's All Access Sports Player of the Week is Haslett's very own Shin Nishimura. Nishimura played key roles in both of the Vikings' comeback CAA Cup victories, scoring a goal in each game. The little spark plug for Haslett seems to always be in the right place at the right time, as his elite speed and Energizer Bunny stamina provides the perfect boost to his team when needed. Big game tonight for East Lansing, they'll need him. So, cheer on, number 9. Wait, with the gold cup on the line, who can you cheer for? Number 9. That's what I say. Shin Nishimura.
Maybe he'll cap it off again.
I think so. And coming up this week, we've got so many games for you. Haslett versus St. John's Volleyball, October 12th at 6:30 p.m. Haslett versus East Lansing Swimming. And we are short for time. You can do the rest of the reading yourself. Don't need to hear me talk. But the weekend will be capped off with the Michigan State Northwestern game, that, of course, at home at 3:30 p.m.
And lots of volleyball, so as that approaches too, we'll be able to see which teams are doing
Shifting
great.
Shifting over from soccer to volleyball there. Like it.
Definitely.
Well, that's all for this edition of All Access Sports. I'm Chris Ryan.
I'm Maya Sanchez. Don't forget to follow us online at HOMTV.net, Facebook, and Twitter. We'll see you next time.